Good morning, then, guys. So a recap then: a 2-1 victory away at Lille, and it was a good performance, solid performance. 4-1 aggregate. 1-0 down. They've had 4 days to prepare. It was always going to be a difficult game. They took the lead through a penalty and lovely timing with the equaliser just before half time. Great ball from Jorginho for Christian Pulisic to slot home. Second half, we rode our luck again a little bit. They hit the post from a dead ball situation, and had that got in, it could have been slightly more difficult. And then, of course, we get the goal. Mason Mount with a beautiful cross, and the ball kind of bounced off Sage Aspilicueta's knee. 2-1 game over, and obviously into the next round we went, and that draw was made on Friday. Loads of permutations, as I say, 3 English clubs. We want to avoid both English clubs and possibly Bayern. It was always going to be difficult, let's be honest. It could have gone a lot better, but I guess it could have been a lot worse. But I think probably out of everyone, we fared the worst. So, we've got to, by the looks of it, do it all again, like what we done last year, because we've drawn Real Madrid with the first leg at Stamford Bridge, so second leg's at the Bernabeu, which is not great. And we all know Madrid are in better shape than what they were last season. Certainly that performance against Paris Saint-Germain and the form of Karim Benzema, it's not going to be an easy game. And of course it's going to be in front of spectators as well, so it kind of changes all the permutations, etc. And if we get through that, then we're going to play the winners of Atletico Madrid and Manchester City. So either or, if it's City, it's who we played in the final last year. If it's Atletico, it's who we knocked out in the round of 16 last year. So it's going to be difficult no matter what. And the chances are we'd have to do it the hard way to win the Champions League this year, that's for sure, if we get through both of those situations. We'd end up playing Bayern Munich or Liverpool in the final in Paris. So, spectators, because of the EU sanctions against Roman Abramovich, we can't sell tickets, but I imagine, hopefully, things can be sorted out, especially now this deadline's gone down. We should know who it's likely to be in the next few days. It's quite incredible. We should be puffing at our chests, really, at the interest levels with regards to our football club. And in terms of the valuation, and I mean, 200 billionaires, various CEOs of various big hedge funds and banking institutions and financiers and property developers. Really quite incredible, and 29 bids, I believe, were actually officially made, which is quite incredible. Just to go through them then, guys, there were some late ones that went in, and I'll just read you out an extract from Sky here. The 9 p.m. Friday deadline, the bids by Chelsea's passed. The consortium is led by Nick Candy, the Ricketts family, and Sir Martin Broughton and Lord Sebastian Coe among the bidders. It's a unique situation for many reasons, but especially that a club like Chelsea does not become available on the open market very often, if ever. One of the biggest clubs of the world, European and world champions. There's so much interest, and that's what I'm saying. We should be, puffing at our chest for sure. Nick Candy, a British luxury property developer, who's pledged to have fan representation on the board, expand the stadium, etc. He's confirmed he's leading a global consortium to purchase Chelsea. That includes the South Korea's Hana Financial Group and CMP Sports Group. He submitted a bid of over 2 billion. There's quite a lot sort of around the 2 billion, 2.5 billion. But there is rumoured to be a bid for over 3 billion, which is, again, unbelievable. Candy said Chelsea is one of the most iconic and successful professional clubs in the world, with a rich heritage, global following and highly valuable brand. Football clubs are virtually important community and cultural assets, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give football back to the fans. So he's definitely got ideas, along those lines, which is really commendable, to be fair. The Ricketts family, they said they know how to run a successful team. The owners of the Chicago Cubs, one of the biggest names linked with a bid, also confirmed on Friday evening. They're leading an investment group that has sent in an offer. I believe that investment group or that hedge fund's worth 80 billion. Again, quite incredible. The Ricketts family and their partners understand the importance of investing for success on the pitch while respecting the traditions of the club, the fans and the community. An official statement from the family said, significantly, they have been backed by Ken Griffin, who is a hedge fund billionaire. And he's worth 3 times as much as Roman Abramovich. And then there's this consortium led by Sir Martin, is it Broughton? He cited experience he's had with Liverpool and their change of ownership. That's the one that's backed by Lord Sebastian Coe, who's a big Chelsea supporter, as we know. They're offering money up front, clear funds up front for transfer activities. Again, they're talking about immediate investment in the team, the facilities and the commercial opportunities. The former chief executive of British American Tobacco continued, I have a track record of success in boardrooms throughout my career and I've done this before. Sir Martin Broughton brokered the sale of Liverpool Football Club during a similar situation 12 years ago. Well, that turned out all right, didn't it? I'm the only person to have, in effect, able to handle the change of ownership at a major football club. But most importantly, as a lifelong fan, he's a Chelsea supporter, this guy. I am committed to ensuring Chelsea maintains its position at the top of European football and making sure we put the fans first. He's also chairman of British Airways. He now runs a sports investment partners group and private investment firm, which has backed businesses in areas such as sports, technology and events management. He was the one that brokered the sale of Liverpool, as I say, 12 years ago. As a state-controlled Royal Bank of Scotland, he was the biggest lender at the time. He became the first and only person to steer a change of ownership at a Premier League football club involving the UK government. And of course we've got this Todd Bowley and the Swiss billionaire, the Wiss family, who the Times are saying are really in pole position. And they've also got on board a former Conservative government advisor, Daniel Finkelstein, who's also backed by Jonathan Goldstein. And they've also brought on board Clear Lake Capital, who've joined the consortium, and Bloomberg are reporting that Barbara Charon has also joined the consortium, so they're actually overfunded. They've got more money than that's actually required, Now, apparently, she's a Chelsea fan who set up a music PR company, MBC PR, which represents artists like Madonna and Maroon 5. And then there's also been over £2 billion bids from a consortium called Athel Partners. They put in a bid more than over 2 billion on Thursday. That's an investment company based in London, and they're willing to provide Chelsea with 50 million with any short-term financing the club might need. And of course you've got the Saudi media group, worth 1.3 trillion. It's quite incredible, really, you know. But they're talking about 6 really serious bidders, and there was one late one as well that came in last night. Let's see if I can find it out. And you'd have to say, really, you'd be quite happy with any of them, really. I know a lot of our supporters want the Saudi bid, but I mean, you have to say a lot of these. Nick Candy's one involves Gianluca Vialli, and the funding that he's provided to buy Italian clubs. It's quite incredible, guys. You know, really, as I say, we should be really proud. You know, this is basically. We'll take you through here, guys. The Ricketts family, key members and background. They're owners of the Chicago Cubs. They teamed up with billionaire hedge fund owner Ken Griffin. Their supporting background is their owner of the Chicago Cubs that led the iconic baseball team to the World Series and oversaw a $800 million redevelopment of Wrigley Field. Apparently, it was quite a rundown stadium. They turned it a really iconic stadium, but they turned it into an incredible arena. It's now recognised as one of the top draw stadiums. Their credentials: they want to join the likes of the Glazers, J.W. Henry, and the Kroenkes to become the latest US sports owners to buy a major football club. That's not so good. Vision of the club: redevelopment of Stamford Bridge, likely to be central to their plans, having done the same at Wrigley Field. Ricketts family and their partners understand the importance of investing success on the pitch while respecting the traditions of the club, the fans, and the community. Okay, so the next one is Nick Candy. As we know, he's a property developer, Chelsea supporter since the age of 4. His family too, and lifelong Chelsea fan. He's got former Gianluca Vialli on board to back his campaign with Vialli's company, Tifosi Capital, and an advisory. His vision for the club is better. A vision for redevelop Stamford Bridge, as well as to have meetings. He's had meetings with Bruce Buck and Maria Gabeschaya. His ambition is to keep Thomas Tuchel in place and the team moving forward. Gianluca Vialli said, "I've met Nick Candy on a number of occasions over the last few weeks, and I'm fully behind his visions and commitment to make Chelsea the most globally recognised and supported club in the world, as well as maintaining the ongoing success on the pitch." Okay, so we've got the Saudi Media Group. Mohammed Afalahi is the CEO, and SMRG's parent company, Engineer Holdings Group, is founded by his father. Their sporting background was behind the construction of the new state-of-the-art 25,000 all-seater Marsal Park for Saudi Arabian club Al Nazir. Chelsea credentials: he has been a Chelsea supporter all his life. Proudly boasts with lots of selfies taken outside Stamford Bridge. Visions for the club: they are keen to distance themselves from the Saudi regime. They want to continue to bankroll the club and develop Stamford Bridge. Sources say they are very serious. Bernard Atwell Buzako, he's a if I've pronounced that wrong, I'm really sorry. This guy is a Ghanaian. He's a gold mine owner. He's worth $3 billion. He's sporting background, big football fan. He's playing on the fact that Chelsea have huge links with Africa, with its current former and former players with Didier Drogba, Edouard, and Mendy. This would be a great time for the African owner to take charge of the Premier League. It's almost like you'd like to have them all. Listen, why don't you all put a little bit in, all of you, and all come in? You know, not being greedy, but there's so many good bids here, guys. His vision is to have the personal wealth to invest heavily. He's quite rich, this guy. The opportunity to enhance the club's reputation in Africa. It's a very tempting project. Next one is Woody Johnson. This guy is a close friend of Donald Trump. Key members and background: is a billionaire heir from the Johnson and Johnson pharmaceutical fortune. So this guy is mega rich. Their sporting background: New York Jets. Johnson has mixed fortunes at the Jets. He's not universally popular with their supporters, so that's not good. Chelsea credentials. He's been based in London for the past 4 years and says he is passionate about a deal with English football. Visions for the club. US bankers Rain are brokering the deal and say redevelopment is key part of any deal, and Johnson says he is determined to build on Stamford Bridge foundations on and off the pitch. Sources close to Johnson say he can offer stability and longevity. And then Athol Partners, they are a global private equity firm whose executive is Portuguese tycoon Ricardo Silva. Now, his credentials: they want to redevelop Stamford Bridge, which is a key part of any successful bid. Well, that's true. That brochure I highlighted earlier, those points are really, really, really important. 62,500 capacity Stamford Bridge was part of the stipulation. Redevelopment, and adding to the development of Cobham, which I guess doesn't really require too much, but basically keeping everyone in their same positions I think is key more than anything. Anyway, the Athol Partners, they want to redevelop Stamford Bridge. The visions are with immediate pledge to 50 million in to keep the club ticking over, and will back Thomas Tuchel. Insiders said they've already made a £2 billion offer. And then Mission Barak, this is the Turkish guy. He's worth 6 billion. Has been looking for extra backers. He's a huge football fan based in Istanbul. He claims to know Roman Abramovich and would need his blessing. So I think that's the reason why, the government was a bit cautious about this particular one, because of his dealings with Roman. He's got a background in construction, tourism and energy. I actually put a video out there actually saying that this guy would probably be a good fit right in the beginning when all this kicked off, and actually does tick a lot of boxes, to be fair. He believes he's got the right knowledge to take the club forward. And then Ted Bowley, which is the one that most people didn't want, but this is the guy that's wanted Chelsea for years and years and years. He's a really successful guy, and his team, he's been added to it, and he's one of the favourites, guys, one of the favourites to win. Todd Bowley and Swiss tycoon Hans-Org Wyss and Jonathan Goldstein. Their sporting backgrounds: Bowley is part of owner of the LA Dodgers. They have appointed PR executive and Times journalist Daniel Felixstein, who's a Chelsea supporter. Chelsea credentials include London property tycoon Goldstein is a lifelong Spurs fan. Well, that's not fucking good. I know Nick Candy pointed that out, which will not please Chelsea supporters. No. Vision for the club: Bowley and Wyss both have huge individual wealth to take the club forward, and Bowley tried to buy Chelsea in 2019 and Tottenham in 2018. They are determined to tap into the success of the Premier League. Felixstein says, as a quote, "This bid knows we are who we are. It's proper Chelsea." Proper Chelsea. And then this particular bid: Sir Martin Broughton, key members and background, Chelsea fan. Sebastian Coe, Lord Coe. A lot of respect there. Creative artist agency and Evolution Media Capital, investment banker Michael Klein. Their sporting background: co-masterminded the London's 2012 Olympics and the huge sporting knowledge and contacts at Chelsea. Broughton is a former Liverpool chairman. Chelsea credentials: Coe and Broughton are both lifelong standing Chelsea supporters. That is true. Vision for the club: it's seen as a very, very safe pair of hands. I'd imagine this one's going to be seen as a very sensible bid, no issues, no problems, safe, money, pride, you know, that sort of stuff. Where they could seem as a safe pair of hands, where they could steer the club through some troubled waters, whilst also providing cash for the club. Coe said, "I'm certain Sir Martin is the right man to lead Chelsea Football Club into the next chapter." And then last but by no means least, the True Blue Consortium, which is the John Terry and Claire Rafferty, obviously former Chelsea and England stars. Their background doesn't need a lot to be said here. Terry's linked with Chelsea, widely regarded and acknowledged as the club's greatest ever captain. He lifted the Premier League 5 times, Rafferty spent more than 10 years with Chelsea, winning the WSL on 2 occasions. Aiming to implement high-tech practices, including the ability of players, fans and former members of staff to effectively hold shares, also hoping to purchase a 10% share and join a fellow bidder in acquiring the club. You know, that would be really cool if he could kind of be with one of those bids, you know, like John Terry in there and they're doing their bit for their 10%, you know, including the fans. Wouldn't that be incredibly progressive, you know, and in the hands of a real Chelsea, you know what I mean?